Hey everyone, Mah-Dry-Bread here. Pokemon Fire Red with only one Poochyena was an incredibly hard but satisfying solo run. Let's follow up with one of my favorites. Today's the day that we figure out would I be able to beat Pokemon White 2 with a team of only one Klink. Alright, I love Klink, and if you watched my previous run with it, then you already know that. Yeah, our stats aren't great, and the abilities are just plus or minus, so they do nothing in a solo run, but check out the level up moves. Gear Grind and Shift Gear are both on the list, and they're very fun moves. Shift Gear gives us 2 stages of speed and 1 of attack, and Gear Grind is a solid 2-hit steal move that was giving us a lot of crits on our last run. By TM, we get a few more moves added to the list, although I'm mostly just interested in stuff like Return. Great for when electric and steel moves just won't cut it. I loved Shift Gear and Gear Grind as a combo in the last run, so I'm sure that we're going to be using that again. For the other 2 moves, I might go with Return and Charge Beam like last time, although I could see Thunderbolt possibly being more useful than Charge Beam. Like always, I'm writing this script as I go through with the challenge, so all this part is being written before I've started. Everyone comment down below and guess if I can win or not. I figure that I can win like in Pokemon Black, but I think it's going to be harder by the end. There's just a few gyms and Elite Four members that I think are going to be really brutal. Let's explain the rules. In combat, I can only use Klink. I'll need other Pokemon to use HMs, and I won't be allowed to use any of those Pokemon in battle. No glitches or exploits, no items in battle, only Pokeballs, held items, and items outside of combat are allowed. Also, if you enjoyed the video, be sure to like, subscribe, and ring the bell for more. Let's do this. So, right off the bat, I use the Universal Pokemon Randomizer to replace Snivy with Klink so that we can do the whole run with it. I name him Guerrero, like last time. Looks like our nature is Lonely for more attack and less defense. That was actually a first try, and I like that nature. That doesn't happen often. Alright, so normally in these White 2 runs, the first bit of the game is actually pretty slow. Despite the first gym being a normal gym, Charon's Pokemon hit pretty hard, and the wild Pokemon you have to level up against are really low-leveled and hardly give you any experience. Even when we use great Pokemon, we tend to have a hard time at that first gym, but thanks to being Steel-type, I think it'll actually be really easy for once. Not only that, but the second gym is a Poison gym, and as a Steel-type, we're immune to Poison. I don't think that they have any other good moves, so I actually feel great about that one as well. As soon as we get to Castelia City, then we can get our hands on some great items, so let's rush our way through this early part of the run. I doubt we're going to have any real issues until Colress anyway. Alright, well, the rival fight on the way to the normal gym was really easy. Sometimes this one is weirdly hard, but I guess he has no fire moves, so he couldn't really do anything to us. Now, the normal gym actually surprised me a bit, because we nearly fainted, and that's with us landing a crit early on. I actually think that if we never landed a crit, then we would have lost this, or at least would have come incredibly close to losing. How is it that even in a Steel challenge, we have a hard time with the normal gym? Okay, thankfully the Poison gym right after didn't have any surprises. This was just one town over, and we had Gear Grind by the time we got there, thanks to fighting maybe 8 to 10 trainers on the way. Even with slightly bad missing luck, they didn't stand a chance. We would have had to have gotten really bad luck for this to have ruined the fight for us. Alright, with the little starting bit already done and out of the way, it's time to get some better items. Right away we can get our hands on 3 great ones: Leftovers, Scope Lens, and Eviolite. The Leftovers heal us a little bit every turn, the Scope Lens doubles our chance to land a crit, and the Eviolite gives us a ton of defense and special defense. I'm not sure which one is going to be overall the best for us, but the Scope Lens with Gear Grind was a run saver when we did the challenge in Pokemon Black. I can see the Leftovers being more helpful in some fights, but overall I think the Scope Lens is what I'm going to be mostly using. Not totally sure though. Anyway, I figure the Bug Gym coming up won't be too hard, but the Colress fight right after might be. We don't really have a great answer for his Steel types. In fact, I think they're going to resist all of our moves. Then is the Electric Gym and the Ground Gym after that, and I don't even want to worry about that yet. The mid-game is going to be brutal. Alright, you need to see this Bug Gym. So despite us not being a very high level, this fight should, by all means, be pretty easy, and yet we have simply unreal missing luck. I know it's only an 85 accuracy move, but we missed so much more than average this fight. So I try the fight again, and this time it's mostly really easy because we don't miss, but then Leavanna crits us with Razor Leaf, and that does enough damage that we can't win anymore. Yeah, we missed near the end, but I don't think that hit would have saved us without a crit. I'm gonna try a bit longer. I do think that this is possible. Alright, well, after 3 more tries where we didn't get crit but missed at really bad times, we get this one where we double crit one of our gear grinds to get the knockout. I mean, as lucky as that was, we have a scope lens, so crits aren't all that uncommon. Still, a double crit's incredible. I don't think it'll save us in that upcoming Colress fight, though. Magnemite is one of the only Pokemon in the entire franchise that resists Steel, Electric, and Normal types. So I figure that the Colress fights are going to be some of the hardest in this entire run. Alright, so this fight took a few tries, but I actually figured out a pretty decent strategy for Colress. If I just switch to leftovers and spam Charge Beam, then I eventually start doing decent damage, even with it being resisted. Being paralyzed since the very beginning of the fight makes this pretty difficult, but we do win in only 2 tries with this strategy. I doubt it'll be this painless later in the run, though. I'm really not looking forward to that last Colress fight. Alright, are you ready for things to get way worse? We have the Electric Gym and then the Ground Gym. We don't resist either, and Ground type is a type that we're actively weak against. Plus, Electric resists Steel, so I might have to learn Return and just hope that we can sweep them at that with some point. That feels like a long shot, though, at least until we level up a lot. I'll get some levels on my way there, but I don't think that we're going to win for quite a while. If there's any time that we have to do a serious grind, it's going to be leading up to that Ground Gym. That said, I do think that we have to grind quite a bit before we can beat the Electric Gym either, and I'm pretty sure that our effort values won't be maxed out for at least another 80 to 100 fights, so I don't think that I should use rare candies yet. Let's just get to the Electric Gym leader and see how close we are to a win. Well, I had to run back and heal after every single trainer fight in the Electric Gym, and I actually lost to some of them on the first try thanks to Electro Ball and Flame Charge, so I'm sure it won't surprise you to learn that I lost the gym fight. By all means, we should have gotten 2-shot, but the only reason why we didn't is because Zebstrika used Quick Attack for some reason, before just Volt Switching to take us out. I'll go and try to max out my effort values, and then I'm gonna come back. So I grind for a long time to get to level 38. Now, for some reason, Zebstrika just keeps using moves that do almost no damage to us, even though I know she's got Volt Switch, so we ended up taking it out. Flaffy paralyzed us, so although we did do decent damage, their Volt Switching still took us out. As rough as that is, I think that I only have to grind a little bit more, then I could just eat a couple of rare candies, and I think I'll be ready to win this one. We might need good paralysis luck, but in a fight this short, that's probably not going to be too big of a deal. So I kept leveling up and trying over and over, and although it took quite a while, I could tell that we could win at level 43. We still lost a few times because even a single turn of paralysis at the end will make us lose, and Flaffy seems to paralyze us every time we try the fight, but after only a few tries at level 43, we got the win. We have almost no travel between here and the Ground Gym, though, and I don't think that we're beating that below, level 60? I just don't see us possibly winning that until we have Gear Shift. Okay, so obviously at the Ground Gym we lose to Excadrill, but I'm actually starting to think that this fight won't be so bad. His first 2 Pokemon never used a ground move, so we really don't take much damage against them. We're not even close to beating Excadrill in terms of stats, but in only 4 levels we can learn Shift Gear, and that raises our speed by 2 stages and attack by 1. If I took leftovers into the fight, then I would have plenty of time to shift gears until we can for sure outspeed and one-shot Excadrill. Alright, well, never mind. I get 4 levels and learn Shift Gears, but I can only do it twice because for some reason Crocodile and Sandshrew now actually use ground moves every turn. I tried a few times, but they always do this now. I know I missed the Excadrill at the end here, but I tried this a bunch of times, and 2 Shift Gears is hardly enough to get him to drop below half health. It just gets him to eat a berry and then he heals back up. I either need to get enough levels to survive another hit and shift gears more, or I need to use an extra hit to attack Excadrill more. Alright, level 53, and this one was terrifying. I did have enough health for an extra shift gears, but because of Torment, I had to be careful with my move choice since I can't use the same move twice in a row now. In the end, I could hardly survive Excadrill, and he held on a lot longer than I had hoped thanks to his Berry and Hyper Potion, but we didn't miss any gear grinds, so we got the knockout. I was so paranoid that I was gonna miss at the last moment. After that is the tournament, and normally this is incredibly easy since they're all level 25 and we're more than double their level. And it was still a first try, but we got confused and paralyzed against Colress, so although we hardly squeaked out a victory, it easily could have gone either way. I bet that the last Colress fight is gonna be one of the hardest fights in the whole run. Alright, that's a bunch of fights done. I finally got to travel again. I'm actually feeling really good about this now, though. Yeah, we got stuck on that electric gym for a long time, but the ground gym wasn't as bad as I thought it was gonna be. If this is anything like when we beat Pokemon Black with Klink, getting shift gear was when most of the mid-game became very easy. I figure the upcoming flying gym will be pretty easy with it, although I could see the next rival fight being hard. If I remember right, his starter will be fully evolved, and so far in this run, the main things that have easily made us faint while we're traveling were fire and fighting types. I don't think he starts the fight with his starter though, so maybe we can shift gears a lot and it won't be a problem. So the flying gym was easy, as expected. They could hardly hurt us, so all we did was build up 6 shift gears and then crush them easily. I really needed the attack too, since Skarmory was at the end and it's incredibly tanky. Well, the rival fight was the weirdest thing ever. We're slower than Unpheasant at the start, and he always keeps us taunted, so I couldn't shift gears at all, but it didn't matter because Emboar just used Takedown every turn. He never used a fire or fighting move. So I took him out, but then Simipour came out, was faster than us, and instantly burned us with Scald. Even without a burn, we would have lost though. Maybe I can shift gears against Emboar? Alright, well the very next try, and although I have to waste some time for Taunt to wear off, I can shift gears as much as I want against Emboar, so that lets me outspeed and finish off his team. I checked, by the way, he knows Heat Crash. I haven't got a clue why he wasn't using it though. Usually the AI is a lot better than this in Gen 5. Alright, we've got the last little bit of travel before the final gyms. We've got the Dragon Gym, our first fight with Zinzolin, and then the Water Gym. Well, right away, Zinzolin will be easy. He's extremely difficult if you're weak to ice types, especially if you're a special attacker, but outside of that niche, he's not very dangerous. I really don't think that the Dragon Gym will be that hard either. Shift gears and gear grind should probably take them out fine. The Water Gym, I'm unsure. We have Charge Beam, but we're not great with it, and the Water Gym has given us a lot of problems in the past because of stuff like Cursed Body locking our moves. If any of these fights end up being difficult, it'll be that one. So I was actually pretty worried after I lost the first Dragon Gym fight. His first 2 Pokemon have super effective moves against us, so we can't shift gears very often, but it was just enough that we could win after just a few short tries. And of course, Zinzolin right after was very easy. He did a lot of damage with that Ice Beam, but it's just because of a crit. We swept him. Well, I thought this might happen. Charge Beam did a bit of damage, then one Scald after a boost nearly took us out. We were able to finish off his first Pokemon, but we didn't stand a chance against Wailord. We are not great with Charge Beam, and we're not tanky enough to be able to shift gears much if we want to go for Return instead. All I can do is keep leveling it and keep trying this fight until we can win. You can go ahead and guess what level we'll win at, but I'm thinking level 70 to 75. So first we try at level 65, and it just goes the exact same as level 61. No difference at all. We clearly need to get stronger. So level 70 didn't change anything, but at level 75, I felt like that maybe I could get farther if I just got enough special attack boosts, don't get burned, and don't miss. It took 11 tries, but I got this one where thanks to a crit I got farther, just to find that even with a bunch of boosts, I can't take out Jellicent. Like, we're not even close. Considering Charge Beam is our only move that Jellicent doesn't resist, this is really bad. I'm starting to think that we need to be closer to level 85 to win, not 75. Man, this was so much harder than I was predicting. After losing a bunch at level 80, I tried a handful of times at 85. It was obviously possible, but Charge Beam only has a 70% chance to raise our special attack, and it can miss, so it only takes a little bit of bad luck to ruin the whole fight for us. Eventually I got this try where thanks to a crit, we actually won pretty fast and ended with a ton of health, but most tries, we're not nearly that lucky. Alright, the last fight was brutal, but it might be about to get even worse. We have an easy fight with Zinzolin, but then we gotta fight Colress, and he always opens with Magneton and Magnezone. Pokemon that resist all of our moves, and will pretty much always open the fight with Thunder Wave. Maybe we can just use leftovers and we'll survive long enough to shift gears to victory, but knowing that we can randomly lose turns makes me think that we might need too much luck to pull it off at this level. Then there's Getsis, who I have no idea how hard he's gonna be. I feel like I've never really gotten a good grasp on what types have a particularly easy or hard time fighting him in this game. At least I think the rival fight after that won't be too bad, if we make it that far. So first was Inzolan, and like before, he could hardly hurt us, and we could sweep him. He's no issue, but I know that we have Colress next, and even if we're a way higher level than him, being paralyzed and fighting two Pokemon that resist every move that we have is an issue. I figure that by this point, shift gears and return is the way to go, since they're gonna double resist gear grind. Alright, check it out. Level 86, and it's not even close. We get paralyzed right away every time. Every attack they do does a ton of damage, and even with 2 gear shifts, we still can't one-shot Magnezone. I mean, not that we even could with a crit, considering he's got 2 Pokemon with Sturdy. Guys, I think we might need to be level 100 to win this one. So I bump all the way up to level 95 and make a couple of tries with Fast Forward on. Believe it or not, this really doesn't take long at all. Probably only a few minutes. Yeah, I had speed up on and that helps, but we actually had really good luck on this try. With some gear shifts, we're fast enough to still outspeed them, even with paralysis, and although I still lost turns here and there, they didn't really take advantage like they could have. They had a few chances to make us faint, but they didn't take it. This feels like the kind of fight that should have taken me 10 to 15 tries, and yet I think it only ended up taking 2 or 3 at this level. Wow. Well, I kinda thought Getsis would be different, but because Cofagrigus could hardly do anything to us, Getsis never had the thought to just switch Pokemon. We maxed out our speed and attack, and then swept him. We missed once and took a big hit, but that's fine, it was still a really easy win. And of course, our rival doesn't really do much to us early in the fight, so we can just build up attack and sweep. This actually took me 6 tries though, because he always gets us with Swagger early on, and hitting ourselves after shifting gears and being boosted by Swagger does a great job of making me faint over and over. Now that we're the Elite Four, let's take a look at our stats. Well, our attack is solid, and our defense is pretty good considering our nature lowers it, but I don't really feel great about this. With Pokemon like Chandelure and Marshall's whole team to contend with, I don't really see us winning. Who knows though, we pulled it off in Pokemon Black in the high level 70s if I remember right. Maybe we can do it this time too. Make your final guesses on if we can win this or not. Let's do this. First is Ghost Trainer Chantel, so I tried this fight 25 times and never once did I get anywhere near the end. Despite having the same moves as in Pokemon Black, she just uses Will-O-Wisp every single time. Even if it misses once, we still just lose. We have to shift gears 4 or 5 times to have a chance at taking Chandelure down, and even then, it's all luck. In Pokemon Black, Cofagrigus would just use Shadow Ball, and that's not that bad, but for some reason she always burns us in this version, so we're doomed. We can't afford to hold off the burn with a berry, since we will need the health from the leftovers. I guess I'm gonna try this a bunch later, since the Elite Four can be done out of order in this game, but I'm pretty sure I can't win this one. Second is Dark Trainer Grimsley. This was crazy easy. Obviously he can't do anything to us with Liepard, so we just gear shift 6 times and sweep him. Third is Psychic Trainer Caitlyn. Yeah, just like before, her first Pokemon can hardly hurt us, so we just build up and sweep easily. I figure Marshall can't be that easy though. Fourth is Fighting Trainer Marshall. I actually thought this one might be hard because of how he wasted so much time trying to lower my speed early instead of just spamming Storm Throw, but we pretty easily swept on the 3rd try. I actually thought this one might be hard, but because he wasted so much time trying to lower my speed early on instead of just spamming Storm Throw, we pretty easily swept him on the 3rd try. Yeah, it took a little bit of luck because we couldn't afford to miss at any point, but hitting them with Gear Grind 4 times really is not that hard. We can't beat Chantel though, can we? So what you're watching right now is me trying the Chantel fight over and over and over on Fast Forward, trying to figure out if this was even possible. Obviously it wouldn't be possible without a lot of luck, but Gen 5 runs pretty quickly in general, and with speed up on and a very simple strategy, it doesn't take long to grind out a ton of attempts. You'll notice that on a few of them, Will-O-Wisp misses, and then he switches to using Shadow Ball once or twice. Those are the only attempts where we stand a chance at all. On one, we got crazy lucky because Will-O-Wisp missed more than once, but it didn't matter because we missed too late in the fight. So Chandelure took us out easily anyway. Eventually, though, we got a run where Will-O-Wisp missed early, so we got to build up more and never got burned. Then we actually swept through the rest of the team. I think I landed a crit, but it was going so fast that I didn't see for sure. This is part of why I'm not a big fan of using speed up while recording fights, because yeah, it's faster, but it's also a lot harder to follow, even for me as the player. Gen 5 text boxes are already really fast, so with that speed up it can be hard to read. Still, we somehow actually got a win. I was convinced that wasn't gonna happen, but maybe this run is possible. Finally, the Pokemon Champion Iris. I mean, you know exactly how this was gonna go, though. We just shifted gears twice at the start while we were being hit by Flamethrower, and then we swept the entire team with Gear Grind. We got unlucky and missed twice against Archeops at the end, but all it was using was super weak rock moves, so we still very easily won. I love that I went from thinking that I can't beat the Ghost Elite Four member to suddenly lucking my way through and then sweeping the champion. Man, that was awesome. It's always cool when I have a run where I'm absolutely convinced it's gonna be a loss, just to end up winning. I hope you guys like that run. The next Pokemon Challenge should be up next week on Saturday, like usual, with Pokemon X, with only one Maractus. I'm looking forward to it. That's a fun Pokemon. As always, I'm looking at your suggestions in the comments, in the challenge request section of my Discord channel, and on Twitter. Subscribe, ring the bell, stay tuned. Outro time, first of all, for the $50 supporter shoutouts, because I don't want to do it at the end every time, because I forget every time and do it last minute. Thank you so much to Jacob Busby, Javid Khusro, Dan Sorrell, and Grayson Fitz for the top tier Patreon and YouTube membership thingy. As for the actual outro, those of you watching this video early, the day that I get it edited and it goes up and you get the early access through YouTube and through Patreon, this is, I think, the last challenge you're going to be watching of me in September, so I hope you've enjoyed the 2-month streamathon. I didn't get to stream nearly as much during it as I wanted, but as I've been talking about, I'm just gonna stream a whole bunch in October and November and stuff to make up for it. Personal life was very busy. I have had the worst sleep schedule in the world. I've been very busy with Pokemon challenges, and of course, I've been streaming on top of that. So I didn't have as much free time as I wanted. I'm also gonna be really busy in October with a lot of Haven and Hearth stuff, because that's kind of time sensitive. I gotta get a lot of that recorded, because we don't know exactly when the next world is dropping, but it's probably gonna drop pretty soon. And I wanna have a bunch of tutorial videos ready, edited, recorded, all that good stuff ready to go when the new world is dropping, so it can be as helpful as possible to new players that are coming into the game when the new world drops. Because, look, I've been playing Haven and Hearth for like 15 years or something, close to it, probably more like 13 years. And new players come in every single year when the new world drops, so I want to make sure that I can continue to be helpful for them, because a lot of people still find me in-game, and they still thank me for the tutorial videos, but those tutorial videos are almost 10 years old now. You know, they still are functional, but there's a lot of updates that have happened over the years, and I would really like to have more updated tutorials that are more helpful to new players. So yeah, I'm gonna do that. I'm probably gonna need more people in my village helping out with making those. So again, if you play Haven and Hearth and you watch this, then by all means go to the Discord server in the description and let me know, and I can let you in. You just gotta let me know where you found this whole request for you to come in from, because I need to know that you're legit. There are a lot of griefers in Haven and Hearth, and they will spy on your Discord servers to try and sneak in or get info that they shouldn't have so that they can grief you in-game. Not a joke, they do this all the time, and in fact they've done this to me several different times over several different years, which is why I'm so careful about it. But if you're part of the community, then I already know that you're obviously safe. Doesn't matter if you've never even played the game before. If you want to get into the game, give it a try. It's fun. It's on Steam. It's called Haven and Hearth, if you want to check that out. It's very fun. Anyway, I have not eaten. and I'm currently taking hunger damage. Thank everybody so much for watching, and until next time, have a nice day.